call the December 13th school board meeting to order. First order of business will be the pledge, led by member Terry Hodge.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like you to join us in a moment of silence, and we'd like to remember the two young men that were lost their lives in an automobile accident last week. One was a Smyrna graduate last year, and one was a student there. Okay, thank you. Next, Mr. Spurlock, going to announce our legal choir.
Yes, I'm going to let our Fine Arts Coordinator, Ms. Lindsay Halford, come up and introduce the Siegel Choir and Band and their accomplishment.
Good evening, Board. I'm here to introduce to you the Siegel High School Band under the direction of Mr. Alex White and Mr. Trevor Rundell. The Siegel High School Band recently traveled to Indianapolis to perform in the Bands of America Grand National Championship. They're the first band from Rutherford County Schools to make this trip and compete at a national level. They got their first national ranking during this trip. Overall, of all bands in the country, they placed 39th, and in bands in their class, they placed 13th overall in the country. So a great showing for their first time out, and they're putting Rutherford County bands on the map. So we're very excited to have them tonight, and representing the entire band will be their brass ensemble.
Give them a second to get out. Next on the agenda will be approval of the agenda. Have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Second? Thank you, Mr. Young. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Next would be the approval of the consent agenda.
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Second? Thank you, Mr. Young. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, Mr. Spurlock, I guess we're going to do a little recognition now.
A little recognition.
We got a good, good list.
We're going to start off with the Oakland High School football team, head coach Kevin Creasy. I had the fortunate to know Kevin Creasy since 2007, I think it was, when I worked with him at Riverdale High School. In 2015, when the position came available at Oakland, I brought him there. I will tell you this gentleman and his staff work about as hard as anyone I've ever been associated with. There's many times when I would come over on Saturdays and work myself, and I thought I was putting in a day, and then I'd leave, and they'd just be starting because they'd been there all day long and going way into the evening. But if Coach Creasy and the Oakland football team would just come up to the front here, and we might have a spokesperson, whether it's Coach Creasy or whomever, tell us a little bit about your season and anything that we need to know.
I was really expecting Mr. Marshall to come up here and brag on us. I'm not much on bragging, but I will brag on Mr. Spurlock. He made a great hire about 4 years ago when he hired me, because I'm smart enough to hire really good assistant coaches, and our accomplishments are really based upon having really good talent. We have really good players, but with that being said, I have really good assistants, and I have really good support from our administration, and also support from you guys and ladies. And I tell you, you're in the same business we are, and that's helping mold young people into successful citizens and fathers and hopefully husbands. And we're really excited about these young men. They've accomplished a lot. They put in a lot of hard work, and we are very proud of them. And we left them a message that this is a great accomplishment. We don't want them to have this as their biggest accomplishment in life, though. We want them to go ahead and see that this hard work has paid off, and we want them to do a lot of great things in life. But we appreciate being recognized, and we brought with us some of our seniors and our captains and a lot of our assistant coaches. So if they'd stand, please, we want to give them a round of applause. Thank you very much.
All right, just going over a few things. First of all, Oakland Patriots defeated Whitehaven 37-0 November 29th to win the TWSLA Division 6A state championship. I had the opportunity to go there. When I saw Whitehaven come out on the field, I felt like I should go back to my vehicle. But unfortunately for them, or fortunately for us, it ended the way we wanted it to end. All right, continuing on. We have some also individuals that have been recognized by the TWSLA as far as football finalists and semifinalists, and also the kicker of the year. Starting with the TWSLA 2018 Mr. Football finalists from Oakland High School, Xavier Myers. If he'd stand up, please, and be recognized. Also from Oakland High School, the TWSLA 2018 Mr. Football Kicker of the Year, Garrett Taylor. Also from Oakland High School, Mr. Football semifinalist, a Oklahoma commitment, Woody Washington. From Eagleville High School, a 2018 Mr. Football semifinalist and a excellent student, I might add, and with his ACT score in the 30s. Am I correct on that, young man? All right. Well, anyway, Mr. Ethan Cobb. And the football coach of the year named by the Tennessee Titans is Mr. Kevin Creasy. All right, switching sports. The Siegel Boys Cross Country. The Siegel Boys Cross Country team repeated as TWSA state champions in the large school division on November 3rd at Percy Warner Park. The head coach is Phil Young. Absolutely, Mr. Young. Mm-hmm.
Some of these guys is their second chance. We're repeating, and we don't have any seniors, so hopefully we'll have a chance to come back again to get 3 people. But I have a statement, if you wouldn't mind. I'd like to.
Absolutely.
Mr. Spurlock, school board members, thank you for the opportunity to recognize the 2018 boys back-to-back cross-country Division I large school state champions. Each team's story is impossible to communicate in an Insta, tweet, or blog post. It's the incalculable accumulation of hinge moments, quiet revelations, and grayscale epiphanies spread out over hundreds of otherwise unremarkable miles of running. The race is too big for any one person. Each of us comes to the sport of cross country incomplete, but the beauty of our sport is that over those miles of running, you figure out who you are, and so does everyone else. As head coach at Siegel Cross Country for 11 years, I've had the privilege of learning from numerous National Merit Scholars, Governor School attendees, valedictorians, and team members who are excellent role models. These students, athletes exemplify hard work and dedication that pays off both in the classroom and on the race course. Our team's GPA this year, 37 members, is over 3.6. We've had 15 team members sign college athletic scholarships to run at numerous places: Alabama, University of Mississippi, Austin Peay, Belmont, to name a few. And we've had many others who have chosen to go on and study academically: Notre Dame, California, Stanford, Alabama, Mississippi State, UT, MTSU. Our program's success would not be possible without the support of Mr. Spurlock and the school board members, Mr. Tackett, Mr. Creasy, our principal, and the administrators, faculty, and staff of Siegel High School, our coaching staff, the parents, and most of all, our team members. Winning the state championship was a great accomplishment for our team members, but winning back-to-back state championships for many of the team members is even more impressive. The great coach John Wooden said, "It takes talent to win championships. It takes character to repeat." The irony, of course, is that years from now, all that will remain on the 2018 season are the names engraved on the 2018 state trophy. We fondly refer to as repeat. A new class replaces the old, and over time the stories will fade. Tigers leave their skins and the dead their trophies, and heroes their names, says the old Chinese proverb. So be it. But for the rest of their lives, the members of this team are a part of a secret lattice, a silent kinship made through thousands of miles of running. A collective memory is generated that only they know about, that defines their name. Their experiences will hopefully enable these young men to go out into our lives, respectful, happy, proud, contributing to a better society, succeeding in life, and making our communities better. Thank you for your support, and go Stars.
Thank you. I would just like to add, Board, that it's really great that we see these student athletes that have accomplished a lot on the state level, winning back-to-back, winning for the first time, and maintaining such a high GPA. You know, that exhibits what the student athlete's all about, and we appreciate these coaches providing opportunities for these young people to be successful. And I know we've seen many, we take this for granted, but we've seen many championships come through the year. I know over the past few years, we've had some repeat, some three-peat, and some have won 5 or 6 out of the last 8 or 9 years. So not every district has these type of things, and we appreciate recognizing them. All right, next is our Safe Schools Coordinator that will be taking over the reins of this job in January, Mr. David Krim.
I'll need to mark that up. Mr. Krim didn't want to talk. All right, we're ready. Any visitors, Ms. Michaels? Thank you. Old business, Mr. Spurlock.
Yeah, we're going to take a look at our 5-year building plan, but before we do, we know we had a change that took place on some land, and I'm going to let Mr. Clardy kind of come up here and explain what took place, Mr. Clardy.
Good to be back with y'all.
Good to have you.
I thought I might try to get a raise so I could get my hair cut, but I don't know if I'm going to have good luck with that or not. We discovered on a piece of property out at 96 and 840 that it had some serious problems with the karst area, some closed depressions, a couple of open crevices, and then a long crevice that has a lateral area in under it. It's like a cave. And that's on the preliminary report. And the long closed depression is approximately 700 feet long, and it runs to the property next door to it. So that would mean it would be impossible to fix that unless we went on someone else's property and worked it from the other end also. So the recommendation of our engineer, who's been doing this for us for 15 years, Sam Vance, professional engineer who's with Collier, has recommended that we move on and look for another site because of the fact that there's so much work to be done to get that site ready that it is just cost prohibitive. So today I went out, looked around. 150 acres, 125 acre sites are getting very difficult to find in Rutherford County in the areas we need. So at some point, you may be interested in looking at the smaller sites and splitting schools back out. I mean, it may come down to that at some point where you have to buy 40 acres for a middle school and 30 acres for an elementary school and, 90 acres for a high school or whatever amount that it takes as the plans evolve. I've looked at a lot of property over the last 6 months. We've settled in on these 3, as everyone is aware. And I just want to tell you where I am on the other 2 pieces in the due diligence process. On the Matthews property out on Highway 231, we're waiting for the final report on the step system. So we've got the testing done out there. I just need a written report. We have the traffic impact study. I sat down last week and reviewed it with the gentleman. He's reworking some of the things that I thought needed to be done, and I should have that no later than tomorrow. That was the word I had today on that. The site plan, we've had 3 different site plans done out there. Just proposed site plans to kind of follow the step system dirt. So we're in good shape on that. I have a geotechnical report on that. It's a preliminary report. It's a good report. It gets a good recommendation, and there'll still be some other things coming, but I believe that particular report's 30 pages long for a preliminary report, so it's thorough. And then, once I get all those in hand, I'll be able to forward them to Johnny Sullivan. He can do the appraisal, and then we would do the final survey and make a recommendation to the school board to go forward with it. On the piece of property in Christiana, all the POs are written on that particular piece of property. The testing for the step system is underway. Next week, they will be starting the geotechnical testing. They've done preliminary testing. We're waiting on a step system layout where they do a 50 and 100 foot grid to go in and check the porosity of the soil. The traffic study, impact study is under the way, and once we get those things done, they'll be forwarded to Mr. Sullivan for the appraisal, and then the survey is on hold right now until we get some of this stuff resolved. I'm very confident that that is a good piece of property. Some of you might recall that 12 or 15 years ago, when they were going to develop that piece of property, they offered us a piece for an elementary school, and we never really tied the deal down because I think the developer got caught in the last recession, and that deal went south. So some pre-testing has been done then on the septic system and a step system for that site. So we know there's plenty of good dirt on there, and we don't look for any problems out of that. Now we need to find something out on the west side of town for those schools that need to be built out there. So if you have any questions, any statements?
Yeah, I got one question. On the 2 pieces of property that you say that it looks promising and everything, what's the time frame do you anticipate that we would be able to get it back before the board?
I would expect, with the Christmas holidays and things coming up, that's kind of hard to gauge, but I should have everything no later than a couple weeks on the Matthews property on the 231, and then I'd say the other would be at the middle of January or a little bit later than that. Maybe by the end of January we'd have all of that. So we could go forward with the Matthews property first, and then to follow with Christiana piece next, and then depending on what we find out west, see how that works out.
In a time frame, let's just hypothetical, in a time frame, if we purchased the land, everything went well out at Christiana, what time frame would we have to put an elementary school out there? Well, how much would we have enough time to go through the process of, you know?
I think we would. If you got started out there May, you would have to get your plans done. If you got started in May, you could get it done in a year. Right.
Okay.
And it would need to be funded then probably right after the first of the year, or at least the design would.
Any other questions for Mr. Clardy?
Thank you, Mr. Clardy. Okay, what we're going to kind of look at here is on the five-year plan of what we did is referenced as the 840-96 corridor. We moved that down. Like Mr. Clardy said, he's still looking for property. We moved that down to the 2021-2022 school year, and we moved up to the 2021, the area out in Christiana, what's referenced as the south side of Murfreesboro. As you'll notice, we've got on the 2021 now, we have the elementary school on the south side of Murfreesboro. We have the Rock Springs Elementary Addition, and we have the Rockville Elementary Addition. But if you'll look over to the last column, it states if we could postpone this addition to Rockville Elementary with the building of the elementary school on the south side in Christiana. Now, how would we do that? By rezoning. Okay, now let me go over some numbers with you. We have some historical data, enrollment data, and then we have some current as of today data. The Barfield Elementary School, you can see the trend there. It's currently at 974. And then you see the grade bands, how many students are in each one of those grade bands currently for that total of 974. The capacity of Barfield Elementary is 867. There are one double portable there and one single. It's my understanding, and I think it is, the one single is Atlas. Is an Atlas trailer, all right? The percentage of capacity is 112%. Christiana Elementary currently has 780 students, and you can see the grade band there. Its capacity is 731. It has 2 single portables and 3 doubles. Its capacity is at 107% currently. Rockville Elementary School currently has 1,059. Its capacity is 867. It has 3 singles and 1 double, and it's sitting at 122% capacity. Now, I put these middle school numbers down here just for reflection. Blackman Middle currently sits at 1,490. It has a capacity of 1,635. It's sitting currently at a 91% capacity. Rockville Middle currently has 1,113 students. Its capacity is 1,040. It has 1 double portable. It's sitting at 107% capacity. Siegel Middle School has 1,164 students. Its capacity is 1,047. It has 5 singles and 4 doubles at a percent capacity of 111%. Oakland Middle School currently has 1,188. Once this addition opens up, it will have a capacity of 1,566. That would put its capacity at 75.8%. Whitworth Buchanan currently has 824 students. Its capacity is at 1,040. Its current percent of capacity is at 79.2.
We're never going to get away from the rezoning word, are we?
And I had Mr. Morgan, and I will send this to you tomorrow because I first wanted to look at it. But I had him, of course, the borders, these elementary schools border one another. They have adjoining zone lines. And there are, there are some opportunities if we went and built a school in the Christiana area that we could accommodate this through rezoning, reducing growth. And one other bit of information, I think maybe Mr. Lee may have already told us this, but I'll repeat it anyway. Since November, did we talk about that? Correct me if I'm wrong. Since November, did we mention that on our work session? Since November, single-family residential permits at 1,389, and this is in the city of Murfreesboro. Is that correct? And apartment units were 1,237 permits. That's just in Murfreesboro.
Yes, sir, that's just in the city limits of Murfreesboro.
Yes, single-family residential permits, 1,389, and the apartment units, 1,237. Mm-hmm.
2,600 units. Anybody got any comments on this? How close, you say the two adjoin each other?
All three of them, they have some common, there's some commonality to them. I will tell you that when you're looking at a Barfield and a Christiana, you're talking about crossing over 231. And when you're talking about the Barfield Rockville, they're very, you know, it's not as pronounced there. You're not crossing over a large highway in order to go into the zone. And as we stated before, it's unfortunate, but growth is not uniform. It's usually going to be hovering around a major thoroughfare or several thoroughfares. And that's where we are.
Well, there's no doubt we're going to have an elementary school. Or some additions, one.
My suggestion would be, as we wait for the final reading on the property, and we're anticipating this sometime in January, and as we know that would probably give us an opportunity to bring this back and have time to look it over and maybe vote on it at that time.
That suit everybody? Okay. Anything else on there we need to talk about? I think that's enough.
That's a lot.
All right, we'll move on to building plan. The approval of community use waivers.
Okay, we're going to take these one at a time. I think that's what we agreed on. Is that correct, Board? These seeking exemption. Okay, pursuant to Board Policy 3.206, public education schools and institutions, post-secondary education institutions, private universities and colleges, governmental entities or agencies that provide benefits to the Rutherford County school system or have an in-kind relationship approved by the Director of Schools may request the Board of Education to allow exemption from the use of facilities fee, which the Board may allow or deny based upon the details of the specific requests. Blackman Elementary School seeking an exemption. Tennessee Cricket League cricket matches on December 13th through March the 30th, 2019. Mostly weekends, 9 to 5, after 6 p.m. weekdays. Field calculated fees at $18 an hour.
Mr. Director, pardon me for interrupting, but I think Ms. Bush haven't you changed the agenda?
Pursuant to the request from the board, we made a recommendation for a motion, and we broke down the 4 that were put up on.
We can do that.
On Monday.
All right. Okay.
Could I ask a question? Because the mayor of Laverne, the beauty pageant, does it have to be a 401c3 to qualify?
501c3, a nonprofit. It does not have to be a 501c3. The city of Laverne, though, qualifies under our policy as a governmental entity. So they would qualify for that exemption.
Oh, so they do, okay. 'Cause
Yes.
he contacted me, he said they make some money off of it, but it's not, it's for the kids.
Yes, it's considered a fundraiser. That's why we included it in this motion.
Okay, thank you.
What decide they want to do on this?
So we just need a motion then to approve the following groups that we
Right.
discussed on
Ones.
Tuesday.
All right, these are the ones that were discussed and agreed upon, I guess, on Tuesday. Buchanan Elementary, Riverdale High Winter Guard practice, January the 1st, 2019 through April the 1st, 2019, Monday and Thursday, 6 to 8:30 p.m. Gym calculated fees at $18 an hour. Motion to approve this request for seeking exemption.
Okay. I
Can
thought we had it on the agenda, just a motion to approve all 4 of them that we had already.
Do we need to take them individually? I never saw it on the agenda.
I'm sorry. It's up on number 10 right here. So the motion is to approve the following groups requesting fee waivers for use of facilities pursuant to policy 3.206, Riverdale High Winter Guard, Laverne Police Department, City of Laverne, and Cub Scouts Pack 1001. All other requests to use facilities are approved, but fees will not be waived.
That's good. Thank you, Ms. Bush. That was simple enough.
So move to approve as written?
Second.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We got through that. Right, 11 there.
Okay, this is the Redstone Financial Credit Union Branch Blackman CTE Learning Laboratory contract for information only. I think Ms. Bush may have something to add to about that.
Yes, so Mr. Reed and I are working on the contract. We're going to bring that back before the board once those contract revisions have been approved by both of our offices.
Thank you. Okay, facilities.
All right, Laverne High School pool requests. Laverne High School is requesting to relocate the swing starting blocks to the deeper end of the pool. This same relocation was completed at Oakland High School by the same pool company Laverne is requesting to use. The cost of this will be $10,500 and will be at no cost to the school board. A motion to approve the Laverne High School school request to relocate the starting blocks to the deeper end of the pool as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Hodge. Ms. Johnson, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, collaborative conference.
All right, Collaborative Conferencing Committee, pursuant to Section 49-5605, the Board of Education is required to appoint management personnel to serve on the committee following a majority vote in favor of collaborative conferencing. The following individuals have been nominated: Dr. Andrea Anthony, Dr. Kay Martin, Mr. Brian Lewis, Dr. James Sullivan, Mr. Ryan Nance, Mrs. Amy Patton, and Ms. Nivea Serrano. Motion to approve the Board of Education representatives for Collaborative Conferencing Committee as follows.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Moore.
Second.
Ms. Sharp, thank you. Okay, any other questions, comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, information only here.
For information only, the professional employees have named the following representatives to serve on the Collaborative Conference Committee pursuant to Section 49-5-605. Laura Schlesinger, Emily Mitchell, Elena Burgess, Michelle McGoldrick, Dr. Melinda Pope, Geneva Cook, and Robin Hopkins.
Okay, insurance update.
No new updates at this time.
Thank you, ma'am. Director's update.
Yeah, we're excited to announce that we have 4 elementary schools that will be receiving the Read to Be Ready Summer Grant. These schools are as follows in the number of students. John Coleman Elementary, 36 students. Rockville Elementary, 72 students. Stewartsboro Elementary, 54 students. And Christiana Elementary, 36 students. And we finished up our town hall talks for this semester. Our next meeting will be in January the 22nd at Riverdale High School.
All right, is that it? Okay, Ms. Moore, I know you've been working hard.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. No actual report for the TLN perspective, but I do want to use this opportunity to remind everyone, and also to any of the public that might be watching, all 5 of them anyway, that we're hosting a very, very important meeting next week. It's Wednesday, December the 19th. Right, Jeff?
Right.
Right. The meeting is going to start at 6:30 here at Central Office. We're going to be doing this in conjunction or collaboration with the Murfreesboro City School Board, and it's a meeting with our state legislators. And then we also have invited all of the elected officials in Rutherford County, Murfreesboro, and Smyrna, both city and county. So we're looking forward to that, and I would encourage anybody that's able to attend, because I think we've got some very, very important things to discuss with our legislators at this meeting. So, thank you.
Thank you. Hey, Mr. Hodge, Federal?
That's the only thing I have. Last time I reported, I get the information from Department of Education, and also the one I just got last week was from the National School Board Association. And reading over this stuff last night, today, a lot of stuff I mentioned last time about ESSA guide, parents guide, and all that is being repeated by National School Board Association. But I did find one thing interesting in this report, that the U.S. Department of Agriculture, they're approving a child nutrition regulation changes, and it's a relief from the Healthy Hunger Free Act, Free Kids Act, I guess within our schools related to milk, whole grains, and sodium. But the new regulations will take effect July of 2019, and basically goes on to say, under the new rules, schools will be able to offer flavored 1% milk, not just unflavored skim milk. And they'll be able to reduce the current 100% whole grain requirement to 50%. So I don't know if that's a good change or bad change or whatever, but other than that, that's about the only thing in this thing for this go around anyhow.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hodge. Any comments on Mr. Hodges? Okay, general discussion.
Just one thing, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to just point out, and I didn't want to interrupt you. We had so many people that we recognized tonight, besides Oakland High School. But just in the area of football, since 1970, when the Central Tigers won it, and I'm not absolutely certain that my figures are correct, but I'm well, be pretty close. Rutherford County has been to the highest level of football and the championship game since 1970, which is 48 years. We've been there, somebody has, 20 times. And that's a ton when you consider the fact that there's always 50 to 65 schools in the top level all across the state, and that this county has provided one of the opponents there for 20 times in 48 years, and they've won 11 of them. And I was thinking about something Mr. Spurlock said earlier about the Siegel championship year, and they were back-to-back. Smyrna is the only team that has won back-to-back championships, and they've been there also another time they were there. So that's truly remarkable for our athletes and our coaches and communities. That's just absolutely amazing, and I just applaud them, which we did tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan. Anybody else? I did notice, Mr. Spurlock, on our emails that we're still getting a lot of people that haven't taken the hint that we're going to grandfather all upcoming seniors to their school. So, you know, we will vote on that in January, but that's something I feel sure is going to happen. So if you have a junior out there, they're going to get to stay at their school. So. All right. Anybody else? Okay, no other comments? We're adjourned.